Welcome, everybody, to another interview in this series for mastermind leaders or aspiring mastermind leaders. My name is Sebastian Cruze. I'm a 7-year mastermind leader and founder of the True Freedom Mastermind for mastermind leaders. And today we have a very special guest, Mara Whitener, who is going to be sharing her method for hiring a community manager. And the special twist, the special sauce on it is also looking through the lens of human design to have the right fit for your team. And Mara has over 20 years in scaling business operations and management. And she herself has started and grown multiple 6 to 7 figure businesses. So super excited to join in for today, because really the problem this solves is, as a mastermind leader, you start growing. Having some support for a community manager can help all the things from A to Z that can take you out of your zone of genius, or just all these little details that need to be on top of for a thriving mastermind, thriving community. So with that being said, welcome to the interview today, Mara. Great to see you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it. I'm very excited about today.
Awesome. So yeah, I'd love to hear a bit on your story of how did you get into operations, human design, molding those worlds together, and how did you start discovering your method?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I've had, again, over 20 years experience in businesses. I went from running larger businesses, corporate businesses, to starting and growing and scaling my own. And it was really the last business that I sold. I had competitors reach out to me. They're like, how are you doing it? How are you doing it? And what came easy to me was running the back end of a business. I've always done it, and I've always done it well. And I didn't fully realize that was what I did well until I had these other people reach out. And so I started helping them on the side, coincidentally burn myself out at the same time.
Mm.
But it really made me stop and think that I really wanted to help other businesses figure out the right pieces to put in place so that they could grow, so that they could do what they were good at and have the success and build the vision that they wanted and build the lifestyle that they wanted without hustle mode and all of those things. So thus was born Whitener Professional Services. But after I began full-time helping other businesses, I was introduced to my human design. And I've done a lot of different tools and assessments over the years, and they're all great. You learn different nuggets of information about yourself. But human design was actually the single biggest game changer in my life and my business. So I
Mm.
more than quadrupled my business in a matter of months
Wow.
just by implementing some of these pieces and these things that I learned about myself and how I function, what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing, how to make decisions for myself, lots of different things. Total game changer. And
Mm.
so I turned around and became a certified aligned success leader. So I am certified to put together teams
Nice.
based on human design. So there's a whole element in human design and natural energies that come out in small teams. And so really in building your team to kind of have that amazing, cohesive, creative dream team, looking at those natural energies and those gates and the zone of genius that they bring can really help you build that team together. So I actually use it with CEOs directly, just for them, and or with their teams.
Mm. Oh, this
Mhm.
is so cool. So yeah, I love human design as well. It's been a key part of my journey. And so it's so powerful to hear that you started connecting to the insights and then 4x'd your business in a matter of months. Uh,
Mhm.
Fantastic. And I feel like with human design, especially, there's so many details. So it can get easy to be lost in the sauce, where there's all these little details that are great, ahas. I feel like, oh, that's interesting. That's cool. Yet I'm always going through the filter of like, okay, what can I take action on now? And so really excited to hear on, how you put together teams. And I know that's called like the Penta framework as well, through human design. And so, yeah, so excited to go into like those specifics.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah. Before we get into the specifics and the method, is there anything else that you would like to um, share from your journey? And if not, that's okay. I just I was like,
No,
whoa,
no, no,
the
you're
specifics part of my mind was already wanted to go in, but I just wanted to make sure you had the stage.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you. But what I do want to share, and I like it's a message I like to pass along,
Mhm.
that it can be difficult to build and grow and scale a business. And there can be those growing pains where it just feels like you are stuck working in the back end of your business and you're not doing what it is you're meant to do. You're doing all of the things that you really shouldn't be doing. But I am here to tell you it doesn't have to be you're working 12, 15 hours a day and you can never catch up. It feels like your to-do list breeds overnight like rabbits or something. Like it doesn't have to feel overwhelming. It can feel easy. You know, if there's people that you're looking up to and they're posting pictures, they're on the beach and on vacation this week and they're making millions of dollars. Well, I mean, be wary a little bit. However,
Yeah.
it's possible you can build your business around you, not the other way around. You do not need to sacrifice yourself. It's really just a matter of finding the right pieces. Human design actually happens to be my magic sauce to help you find those true right pieces and team members. So I kind of put the whole operational puzzle together based on your vision and your human design. So operations is kind of that redheaded stepchild, I feel like, in business. Everyone focuses on the marketing and the sales, and I've got to market and I've got to be on social media and I've got to have sales help and I've got to do all these things, which is great, and you do.
Mhm.
But then in the back end, it kind of gets thrown together.
Mm. Mhm.
But if you really build a stable foundation and the right structure around you, marketing and sales is going to get a hell of a lot easier.
Mhm. Right. Because then the clients get more results and the
Mhm.
referrals happen more often.
Mhm. Exactly.
Fantastic. So I'd love to start there of, let's say there's a business. Is this for mastermind leaders? So there's a mastermind leader. Let's just say they're a
Mhm.
projector. Where do you said you start and build the business around them. Yeah, could you share on like how that process starts?
Sure. Whether it's, when it comes to a projector, obviously your profile and other energy is going to lend more detail. But a projector in general, whether we are outlining pieces for their entire business or honestly, your mastermind is kind of your business within your business,
Hmm.
which is kind of need to treat it that way. It needs to kind of have its own structure and part
Mm-hmm.
of your business. So I will lead in with that. But projectors in general, you guys don't always have consistent energy, right? You're not worker bees like us generators. I mean, if I'm doing something I love, it could be 12 hours later and I'm like, maybe I
Still
should take a
going.
break. Right. I am susceptible to burnout in a way that if I'm just doing and doing and doing and something that I love, I actually have to put in boundaries to make myself stop. Projectors almost have an opposite issue.
Mhm.
They don't always have the consistent energy to do what they love. So they may have been told they're lazy in life, or, I mean, why can't you just push through and do this stuff?
Mhm.
Right? Well, you guys actually have to build your schedule, what you do, when you do it, and how you do it, allowing you that flexibility to roll with
Mhm.
those days where it's just not there.
Mhm.
And honestly, that's okay. I've had projector clients we build in nap time.
Mhm.
It
Yep.
sounds dumb,
It's essential.
but but it makes them the happiest people on the planet because they're like, I can take a nap.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they do it every day, but they feel the freedom that they can be them. Right. So those are the kinds of things that would be a starting point for building something around a projector is really honing in on that flexibility to allow them to flow.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah, I smile because nap time is part of my daily deal. It's
Uh,
I actually call it meditation nap because there's a certain
yep.
technique I do, transcendental meditation, 20 minutes.
Mhm.
more often than not, boom, deep
Mhm.
sleep goes there. Yeah. And without that, I would be toast. I'd be a
Yeah.
walking.
But it allows you, I'm sure, to come back
Mhm,
and show up as the best version of you
mhm.
for who you serve and in your business and in your team. We can't show up, it all kind of goes into self-care.
Yeah.
We can't show up as in our zone of genius and the best version and allow our clients to get the best service unless we figure out how to be that person and how to provide it. And it's not pushing through. So, yes, my projectors love nap time. You
Right.
can do meditation, or you can nap, or you can go read a book, whatever they find restorative
Mm,
that
mhm.
allows them to then come back, ready to go. That's what they need to do.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So fantastic. So what I'm hearing is flexibility
Yes.
for
Mhm.
projectors. It definitely makes
Yes.
sense. And so for the others, like a manifesting generator, what's a little different nuance for them?
So manifesting generators are fun. A lot of them may feel like they're all over the place. They have this idea and then they're bouncing to this idea and then they're bouncing to this idea. Well, they have, so they're a generator, which
Hmm.
means we have, when we're doing what we love, I mean, we are just in the zone and we're going to work for hours and we're going to do it. Like
Yeah.
we're the worker bees and we're going to get it done. So manifesting generators are really that energy, but the manifesting part of it brings in some of those true manifestor qualities
Mm,
that can conflict with generator qualities. So manifesting generators like to initiate. There's this natural inclination to have all these ideas and then initiate on them, because that's what manifestors are here to do. Have the ideas, initiate it, call in the projectors and the generators to lead it and do it. But
mhm,
they are here to initiate things. But manifesting generators are not. And so there can be this dichotomy. And if you're a manifesting generator, the key to breaking through that is really learning your authority, whether you're sacral or emotional, and following that authority,
mhm.
because you're going to get really burnt out and frustrated because you want all of these things to happen. It's like you're going a mile a minute, and then you have this program, and then you want to do this program, and then you don't know why they're not all getting implemented,
Mhm.
and maybe half-ass implemented because then mentally you've moved on to the next thing. And so it's really getting very clear on what you are supposed to respond to as
Mhm.
a generator
Mhm.
to kind of keep that in check. And then making sure you have the right team around you that can keep up with you.
Mm,
That is another key.
mhm.
Um, I have to place specialized folks and business managers with my manifesting generators that can keep up and keep them kind of in line.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And what does that look like? So I just smile because I've worked with a lot of different types of people throughout the years, and so yeah, manifesting generator, boom, a lot of energy, loves being on calls and people connection, starts going down if there's not a people connection. So boom, boom, boom. But then what that can happen is a schedule that's filled with all these things, and it's they all are exciting in a different way, but like can be scattered. And so the right people around the team. Well, first off, it just totally resonated with what you shared. Is like I've seen where people have that energy and they're also really connected to their authority, their decision making. Whether it's a gut feeling or emotional time, or
Right.
time for their emotional wave. Like they tend to be more on track with that energy, and then it's
Yes,
unleashed in certain areas. And it's fantastic. It's so cool to see.
it is.
And then I've seen other people who are not can't feel it in their body yet. They haven't developed that connection. So it's all up here, which is, in my opinion, really easy to deceive, right? Because everything sounds good and looks good, especially in today's marketers. So it
Mhm.
ends up being a lot of exactly what you shared, over here, over there, not finished. So surrounding themselves with the right people. From your experience, how does that conversation go when maybe a person is it helping them recenter back into what is your authority feeling right now, your gut feeling or your emotional wave.
Yeah, if it is somebody that's willing to do some work to learn to connect with that,
Mhm.
that's the first work, is really learning to connect with that feel. And like you said, it can be difficult. We all go into our head.
Right.
Inevitably, I don't care if you are connected, you tend to go in your head, but it's really connecting with that feel, and it's a practice. It can take some time. So that's going to be the first work that
Mhm.
needs to happen, but you need to have a supportive team that's going to help you in that journey
Mhm.
and meet you where you are. So if it is someone, I've had manifesting generators that aren't or are just being newly introduced to their human design.
Mhm.
So really figuring this all out is blowing their mind.
Mhm.
If you have, usually at the level there, we're putting in an OBM, an online business manager, or a really strong assistant
Mhm.
that is going to push back,
Mhm.
remind you of everything else that you have going on, remind you to keep your boundaries in place. So us generators need to have cutoffs and boundaries so we don't overwork.
Mm.
I've built my schedule on purpose for that reason, so that will keep you in your boundaries,
Mm.
and that can really keep you on track, but that they can roll with all of the ideas and the things coming at them,
Mm.
because manifesting generators are going to keep generating the ideas, and they're going to want to do this and they're going to want to do this. But someone that's going to support you in that journey of figuring out how to connect with your authority. Those that are connected with their authority aren't going to be quite as everywhere, but they are going to want to move
Mm.
at a faster pace. And when they really connect to that, they're really going to want to go. So you also have to have that team that can go at your pace and doesn't go, oh, well, I mean, we don't have a process built out for that one, and I don't know what I need to do. And can you tell me what I need? No, you need to have a very proactive team and a very knowledgeable team. And that's not necessarily your lower level help. It's more skilled.
Oh, so good.
Mhm.
Taking notes here. And for everybody listening, I believe this is super powerful on two levels. Number one, helps us as the mastermind leader know who we are.
Yes.
So that's first up. Second one is we're leading mastermind groups with a bunch of all different types, generators, projectors, unless you're just leading a mastermind of clones, which is no good anyways, in my opinion, because everybody
Exactly.
just, agrees with each other, disagree, everybody's on the same page, but there's no growth. So
Yeah.
yeah, who are we right now? And then who are the people around us? I think that's a great thing to listen to, like who in your mastermind group reminds you or just comes to mind for the projector, for the manifesting generator, and can be a way for us to give that extra layer of support or nuance or even tone, when we're leading, having conversations, just smoothing it out.
Well,
Great.
and remember, you bring up a great point that leading a mastermind and building a community, you're going to have all types.
Right.
And so while you don't necessarily have to go to the level that I've gone with understanding all of the types, but understand that there are people that have a gut feel and it's going to be instantaneous in the moment. So if you're promoting a product in your community, or you're wanting to get certain points across and have reactions, remember there's people that are going to have different reactions at different times. So
Hmm.
your gut feel folks that may be in tune with that may say yes or no right away. But then you may need to keep your marketing going in there for those that need to ride that emotional wave for 24 hours,
Right.
you know, or those that even need to wait 24 hours, because there's those, or well, more than 24 hours. There's those as well. You might want to structure how you launch and how you promote and how you do things to accommodate different people with different decision-making styles.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why I truly believe the new era of marketing is community driven. marketing, referrals, because
Yes.
otherwise all typical direct response ads are just like make decision now. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're dead to me. You're dead to me if you don't buy right now. And
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
totally wrong for all the emotional authorities who like, hey, if I'm going to make a wise decision, I gotta, take some time. I gotta sleep on it.
Well, and you don't want those with emotional authorities making a decision in the moment because you might be calling in the wrong people.
Mhm.
Who wants to call in the wrong people if they're not meant to be there or in that promotion or in that offer at that time?
Right.
It's not going to be productive for you and it's not going to be productive for them. So yeah, just keep in mind that you want those warm referrals, but you want to make sure you're allowing people to do and go through the process that they need to go through.
Mm,
Mhm,
absolutely.
mhm,
Okay, so we've got projector check, manifesting generator check.
mhm.
Your pick between generators, manifestors, or reflectors. What do we have next?
Um, well, manifestors, I've already kind of touched on manifestors.
Mhm.
Manifestors are really, they can actually make very, very good community leaders. But the caveat to that is they are here to inform and initiate, but they're not here to do.
Mhm.
So if you are a manifester and you want to lead a community, you actually need a few other people in your corner.
Mm.
A good penta team is a combination of a projector and four generators. You kind of have your projector, they're kind of meant to lead because, again, they don't have the consistent energy to do.
Mhm.
And then you have generators that help with doing.
Mhm.
And so you're actually going to kind of want to have a combination of those two on your side because you aren't meant to do, you literally are meant to inform and initiate. That's it.
Mhm.
So you're going to want to put yourself in the situation where you can inform and be that leader and initiate things, but you've got a super strong structure that can take all of the other pieces off your plate.
Mhm.
Mhm. Reflectors are a rare breed. There's not many of you, um, but you're very special. You do have to create a lot of space around you. There's different authorities that can come with that you may even have to wait a full lunar cycle to make a decision.
Mhm.
Um, but reflectors, you take a lot in. So you absorb a lot of energy
Mhm.
that, unless you are aware of that, can sway you in a lot of different ways that may not be right for you. So
Mhm.
again, like others, it's really important to understand what your authority is and how you need to make decisions and function, and put yourself in an environment that you aren't absorbing everything or you're absorbing all the right things for you in the time that you need it. So it can be a little trickier,
Mhm.
but being very aware of what you absorb, how that manifests for you, being very confident in your authority so that you can almost be a screen for that and not
Mhm.
absorb what you need, but be a screen for what you don't need.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, what comes to mind for me is the personal time
Yeah.
of being in one's own energy, which is so important for projectors. And it sounds like
Mhm.
reflectors, have it take it to another notch where it's like, okay, just otherwise it's absorbing all this energy, all this, and it's like, whoa, okay. So having time to clear that out. And I could see that being very super useful for the, generators on the team as well, or just really anybody. Of just being like, okay, they need their personal time. It's nothing personal. It's not anything bad. It's actually good because then the way I see it is like we all have like a phone has a charge meter, 50%, 25%. I see people have their own charge meters. And so everybody like charges up in their own different way. So it sounds like reflectors have their personal space. Helps that.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's not many of them. So they are rarer. But yeah, they can be very susceptible to energy that they're around. So creating that space and making sure the right people are around you. Not that it's not important for any other type, but it's very important energetically for
Mhm.
reflectors.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
And last but not least, generators. It's my favorite because I'm a generator.
Mhm.
I'm a pure generator. Um, we actually can have I touched on it earlier, the opposite issue. We just go, 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 go. And so we actually have to force ourselves to stop.
Mm.
So I have particular days, I do particular things. There are cutoff points, and it's been a discipline to cut it off.
Mm.
Right? When you really love what you do, I'm like, okay, but I could have 9 hours of sessions in a day. Like, I love what I do. This is phenomenal. Like, it fuels me. And then the next day, energetically, I'm going to be drained. Now, part of that is my profile. I'm a 4-6. So, my 4 line, I am a networker. I am a people person. However, it comes with people fatigue.
Mm.
So, I have to structure mine to where I can be on, and then I have space.
Mm.
So again, there's a whole lot of other nuances to human design that can really color how you structure things. But yeah, generators, a big thing is to have boundaries to make sure you don't burn out. So our burnout comes from we just keep doing.
Mm.
And make sure you're doing the right things for you.
Mm.
Because we have that natural energy to just work and do, being very conscious of what you are doing and making sure it's aligned to you is extremely important.
Mm. Mhm. Oh, fascinating.
Mhm.
So what's coming to mind for me is, yeah, without those cutoff times, it sounds like then a generator builds a debt because they're like doing, doing, doing it, but building a debt that needs to be paid for the next day, multiple days if it's deep enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can definitely overwork, whether we're aligned with the work or not aligned with the work, we just do. And it's kind of been ingrained in us, and that's just what we do.
Done.
And it's a really good, powerful thing.
Yeah.
And we extremely productive, but we just have to make sure we put in those boundaries for self-care and other things, and so that our work, aligned or not, does not consume our life.
Mm. Okay. And I'm curious about a nuance here. So yeah, some generators are in work that they don't love. And so it's like, okay, you can get into more of the work that you do love, and then you'll have your energy deployed in a satisfying way. In your case, so you mentioned, say you are in the track of doing what you love, the people you love, and it's like, let's just keep going. Why stop?
Mhm.
What's that like for you of finding that line? Is it going back to your authority, or is it knowing beforehand, or is it in a moment thing, or is it in the moment it's already too late because it's so awesome and you're doing it? How does that work?
Yeah, it is. I'm not gonna lie. That is, it's a practice to really learn to live an aligned life and work aligned. It's a practice, and there's a little bit of trial and error.
Mhm.
So for generators, for example, our red flag, that's how I like to put it, that we're not doing something, meeting with someone, or a thing
Yeah.
around us is not aligned if we're frustrated.
Mm.
So frustration is going to be your red flag that something about that
Mm.
is not right. And so the quicker you can identify that feeling and the quicker you can go, hold the train. I need to stop and figure out what's either stop in the moment or finish it up really quickly, but analyze it as quickly as possible as to, did you make the decision to do it or work with this person and not use your authority to make that decision?
Mm.
Did something about it is wrong, and you need to figure that out very quickly and then pivot and change. And so it's a little bit of a practice. I've had to, my dynamic is really kind of that people fatigue with my 4 line.
Mhm.
Um, Natural networker, love to meet with people, love to jump on all kinds of calls and learn about them. I have natural curiosity lines. Like, get
Yeah.
all into it. But when I start doing that days and days and days in a row, I'm exhausted. I
Mhm.
absolutely adore what I do and who I'm meeting with, and it has nothing to do with what I'm doing.
Mm,
Exhausted.
right.
Um, and exhaustion can happen, even when you're not doing aligned work, but you're going to feel the frustration
Mm,
and the exhaustion.
mm,
So the more you can practice making decisions by your authority, I'm a sacral, so I have a true gut feel, and
mhm.
it is weird and scary. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
I am known to make five-figure investments in the drop of a hat, and then I think about it later and go, "What the did I just do?" Best decisions ever, they always turn out because I went with the feel that I had in that split second moment.
Mm, mhm,
um, you know, Emotional. You guys have to identify your feeling in the moment, but then
mm,
you have to wait about 24 hours and see if that feeling is the same. If it's not, or if there's wavering, it's actually a no for you.
mm.
But we've been taught that we have to answer in the moment, or it's rude to say, hey, you got to give me a day, but you got to take a day, or
Mm,
you're going to find yourself in situations where you're frustrated.
mm,
Um, so yeah, it's really following your authority to make sure what you're doing is aligned. That's for any type.
mhm.
Um, but it's then following your red flag when it does happen as to, oh wait, something's not right. And then figuring it out very quickly.
Fantastic. Hmm. I just got so many ideas coming up right now that I'm just taking a note to make sure that they're there.
No, you're fine. Yeah, it's a huge, there's so many nuances to human design that you can go as deep as you want to and really customize things and all of that. But even if you're aware of your type and your authority and your strategy, those alone can be gigantic game changers and can really help you put the right things around you in your business and in your community, which is going to be kind of your business in your business.
Hmm. Absolutely. And one thing I'd like to speak to, because it was a thought that was on my mind when I first got introduced to human design, and even many years after I had tested it out and learned to follow that decision-making process,
Mhm.
I had results to say that it was helpful, useful, true. But still my mind was mm, like how exactly? How exactly? You just have a special chart, and yes, I know there's neutrinos and it's imprinting and all these different things. Like, all right, but how? So the thing
Yeah.
that helped me get the head on board was like, oh, well, our subconscious is a million times more powerful than our conscious mind, according to Dr. Bruce Lipton. Totally makes sense to me because our body is unconsciously doing all these operations. Cells are dividing, blood's flowing, heart's pumping. We didn't consciously tell our body to do any of these things today. So it's like, okay,
Mhm.
makes sense that to me that the subconscious mind is way more powerful.
Mhm.
And then it's like, oh, well, if I'm listening to my body, because that's how the decision helps connect us to our body, and the body is a reflection of the subconscious mind, it's like, oh, I'm listening to the intelligence of my body. Everybody knows, hey, good gut feeling, bad gut feeling. They know that when they walk into a room, there's either a good feeling or heavy bad feeling. So it's like we all know that there's no fluff here. So then it's just
Right.
like, oh, this is my body's specific way of deciding. And that's the power of this belief. It's like, oh, yeah, there's different types. And so that's just bringing that into the mix here of like the decision making being like, I believe we're accessing our subconscious mind's ability that's already processing all the information, all the different scenarios, and then giving us the decision. And hopefully we go with it instead of the mind being like, nah, shut up. We're still going to do this,
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you bring that up because, and I've heard it referred to, it's the same kind of concept, but a little differently. Think about it.
Mhm.
Your body actually reacts before your mind. So
Mhm.
think about, when you're at the doctor's office and they have that little rubber hammer thing, and your knee jerks. Well, your knee jerks before you register in your mind that it actually jerked. Think about it.
Yeah.
Because your body's reacting before your mind knows it.
Mm.
Because your body's going to react how it needs to react when it needs to react. And getting in touch with your authority is really, it's your individual body's way of telling you what's right for you and what's wrong for you. Like, it's gonna react before you are mentally aware of it.
Mm.
And so it's really, like you said, getting in touch with that. It's like that subconscious, that body reaction before our mind turns on and then spins us whatever direction it wants to spin us in the moment. And it's can be a little disconcerting when you start getting in touch with it. I know those with emotional authorities, it can be an adjustment to go, but people want me to make a decision in the moment. Like, you're not going to make the right one all the time.
Mm. Mhm.
Own you, own yourself, own your authority, and be fine with saying, hey, I'll get back to you tomorrow. That's cool. Right? Or a gut feel, I'm like, I don't need to get back to you tomorrow because I'm going to think about it. So I have to give you a yes or no in the moment.
Mm. Mhm.
So
Fantastic.
yeah, it's powerful stuff.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. So there might be a thought for people listening, which is like, I thought we were going to talk about community manager, but we're just
Right.
talking about the owner of the business. And you're right. You're right. Why are we
Yeah.
starting here? Because what happens so often to everybody, and I'll speak from experience, is it's like, oh, I need somebody. I'm overloaded in this way, or these things that I don't want to do. Or a person reads a book, who, not how. They think, who are my who's to put in here instead of me thinking how. Or they read Buy Back Your Time, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna free up my time by putting the right people in.
Right.
The problem that happens is asking out, hey, who's got a good referral for me? Or maybe going to a site where there's, assistants or whatever, and having one interview. Oh, problem already, in my experience. But you just have one interview, you ask them what you do, you ask them references, you like them, they like you. They're saying whatever they need to say, by the way. It's just a natural of being interviewed. And so it's like, oh, I like him, we're on the same page. Boom. And then you throw them in, you go, well, hey, so many mistakes there that I've made. So many mistakes I've made. And then you throw them in and you go, well, you know what? That's why I'm hiring them, to take things off their plate. I need self-starters, people that are going to, create their own way. We're an entrepreneur. This isn't a corporation. Boom. But what happens? It just takes a person, throws them into the deep end where there's minimal structure, minimal process. Otherwise, a person wouldn't be overloaded to begin with, but they're just thrown into the fire. And then it's like, well, I need A players to be able to figure it out on their own. It's like, okay, there are the ones that will there, but like in terms of a leadership space, what I've learned through doing all those mistakes in my agency, hiring, is okay, if we're going to lead, let's first prepare a bit. Let's know the role and the seat that we're going to put them in. Let's know me, because it's like the source holder of the business. And so that's what we're doing here, I believe, is like, we're like, let's get clear on here. Then we can start getting clear on the seat. And then we can find who's the right person. And then, there's a process for like hiring the right people. So just want to say there, step one, who is the business owner? From then we can start creating that space. Would you say that that's accurate?
That is completely accurate. And it really, even outside of building that space and that community and that mastermind, I mean, that applies to your business in general. So most of you, I'm sure, already have a business, and then now you're adding this business within a business is really what it is.
Mhm.
You have to structure your business around you and your vision. And when I work with my CEOs, there's really the only two things I care about.
Mm.
The rest are going to come, and we discuss the rest, but that's where we start.
Mhm.
You want them to have a very clear picture of what you're building. Again, goes with your business and with the community that you want to build. Very clear vision. Because if you don't, it's like building a jigsaw puzzle with like no edge pieces and no picture. Like, where do you start? How do you put the pictures together? Having a clear vision forms those edge pieces around your big puzzle that you're going to put together, right? So start with a vision and start with you, whether it's your business and or kind of do it again when you're building your community. Kind of step back, start all over and build it again. Now your community has to become a big portion of your business, so you might have to revisit everything when you're building this out. So I will point that one out there. It's not just about building that community and managing the community. It becomes a part of your business. So how does that play into everything else that you have going on? So yeah, you start with you and you start with your vision. Get very clear on who you are, how you function, and what is going to be able to be put around you to support you. And then what is the vision? And then you kind of take all of that and then you start to put together the puzzle. You start to put together, what systems do I need to put in place to really make this community vision and the experience I want my members to have happen? What processes need to go into place? Like, how do I want things to function? Right? How do I want things to happen? You don't have to be able to necessarily dictate it into a formal SOP. By the way, there's people that do that for you. But you have to have a general idea how you want things to flow. And then you have to have the right team in place, the people to do it for you, because here's a big mistake I see a lot of people make. It's, well, we have this successful business. I've got some team members on board. I want to start this community and this mastermind. Well, they're just going to help me. Yes and no. They may help you with parts of it or getting it going. However, you wouldn't launch a bit, well, some people do, but you shouldn't launch a business without knowing what client experience you want to have happen and then putting the pieces in place behind it to have it happen. Like, you're probably devastated, like I am, if I find out at any given point that someone I work with did not have the experience I wanted them to have. Oh, tell me more, because I'm going to fix it, right? We all want them to have that dream experience in our business. Well, that has to happen in your community as well. And what is that going to take? It's going to take engagement. It's going to take probably posting your expertise and your information and the content that they want that's going to provide the value. I mean, it depends on what you're building, what that's going to take. Well, is that going to be you? I see a lot of people trying to build it and build it. They take on this project to do it all themselves. Well, you didn't build the rest of your business by yourself. You're burning yourself out. People are joining your community for you and the value that you're going to get, but you have to be available to provide that value to them. You are going to be the star of the show, so you can't be bogged down 24/7 creating content and making the graphics and signing people up and doing all of the things. You need people on your side to do it. So hiring those right people are important, and it depends on that picture, that vision of what that community is and how you want it to function and the experience you want people to have. So that could be a full community manager. That could be, hey, I want to provide the videos and a lot of the expertise and the content, but I need someone to help me engage and I need someone to help me do this, right? So that's going to look a little different. So it's really getting clear on the experience that you want people to have, but then also making sure you are only doing what you need to do. Same goes in your business as well as in your community. And when you add on a community, it means less space for you in your overall business. So do you have your entire business structured to allow you to only do what you need to do? Throw that one out there for everybody.
Right, right. Because one of the dark sides of just hiring, that I've walked through is, all right, we're going to buy back the time. Boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden, guess what happens? A week full of meetings and
Uh-huh.
questions.
Uh-huh.
And there's so many. I feel like I've made every mistake in the book when it comes to hiring, growing teams. And I had to learn through direct experience and fire to get where I am with it. And so I just wince with all these like landmines and roadblocks that can happen when it's not, these things don't happen.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I really resonate with this. And I'm curious. So, in terms of like a person is clear on who they are, what they need more, they're clear on their mastermind model and vision.
Uh-huh.
So, we've got those in place. And then it's like, okay, let's start putting out the um, list of responsibilities for that community manager.
Uh-huh.
And, we can flow wherever you'd recommend going here. I have some example things that have come to mind that I'll share, which is like, it could be Facebook group management, tagging new members, those type of things, accepting them. It could be things inside for delivery. I would say, yeah, I'll probably do like client delivery. It could be posting certain things, billing, following up,
Uh-huh.
um, material publishing. And then maybe the way I see it, at least, so that's like the core. And then the bigger bubble is like the, community driven marketing. So maybe the free group, the posting, the interviews there, YouTube publishing, um, member celebration. So those are some things that have come to mind, and wherever you feel like would be best of,
Uh-huh.
so that a community manager can apply for the position and be like, oh, okay, great. These are the things that are expected of me. Because that's one of the things I learned once upon a time. And then I'll pitch back to you, is the owner of over 100 dealerships had one simple thing that every employee had, like on this card, Wes Rydell, was, what is my job? What does a good job look like?
Uh-huh.
And how am I evaluated? Who and how am I evaluated with my job? And
Right.
it's as basic as this, if a person doesn't know that, like, how could they succeed in a role?
Yeah. Part of, again, I believe very strongly, and I think you do as well, because I help build teams based on human design, is really setting up that space that you're allowing someone to be in their zone of genius and how they work and the way they work, and kind of setting them up for success. And part of that is guarantee everyone here has worked for someone in the past and they're like, ugh, I'm doing stuff that I don't want to do, or you get half onboarded and then you're not trained to do other things and you're kind of walking around lost and you're wondering what's happening. But inevitably, and I've done it myself, and I probably could still do it at certain times, it's easy to overlook that when you own your own business because you're on the flip side.
Right, right.
So you have to have some things in place. And to your point is getting very, very clear on what you want. So every time, I always recommend, anytime you have to hire in your business, community manager or not, stop, take a look at the big picture again, realign everyone, and then write your list of what needs to be done. So when it comes to a community manager, it could shake out to a community manager and another person. It could shake out to just a community manager. There's lots of different ways to put together a team to run a community. And it really depends on that extremely detailed list. So basically everything that you listed, you're going to want to market your community.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is that you want someone going into other Facebook groups and getting people to your free group and then promoting in your free group to get people in the paid group? How do you want that to function? You're going to need someone to do all of the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you want them to engage? Do you want them to create the graphics too? Do you want them to create the content? Maybe that's not all the same person. Right? So I always suggest making a list of everything that needs to be done to manage your community. People aside, every single thing that needs to be done, onboarding, adding them to the group, engagement, customer service, answering questions, billing, all of the pieces. Do the same thing with your entire business, right? It's just this piece. Then you look at the list. Now I'm here to tell you, you can have some very, very good community managers, and they're not going to be experts at every single thing that is on that list. So here's the trick. You want to break it down into pieces. What do you really want if you want someone to own managing your community for you? What do you really need that person to focus on? Could you get other help to help with onboarding and billing and answering questions and things like that, and have your manager really take ownership of more the community piece? Are you wanting to interview someone that's going to speak like you, that's going to convey your values, that's going to interact with your clients? Like, that's a skill set that doesn't always come with all the other skill sets. Do you want a community manager that is more a manager that manages the individual people doing all of the different parts? You want someone strong with management to keep all the pieces running, because let's face it, when we have a community, there's like 5,000 pieces that have to go together, right? Maybe we find a skilled manager, and then we find very skilled subset of a team to handle each part. You have someone that's incredibly great at Facebook group growth. They're amazing at it. Well, you don't want to add everything else to their plate. You want them to focus on growing your group, right? Or you have more of an admin type person or VA that really you can process out onboarding and billing and simple things like that. You don't necessarily need your manager doing that, right? Maybe there's someone that just really embodies you and your values and can speak like you, that's just amazing with your clients. You probably want them engaging and focusing their time on that. So I derailed a little bit, but there are many different ways to put together that community manager puzzle piece. But I'm going to warn you, it's probably not one person. You need a team of the right fit of people that are going to help you manage that. You definitely need someone to help you manage all the pieces. That cannot lie on you. If you do, it's not going to last long term, and it's probably not going to go very well. So you do want someone strong with managing the pieces, right? So to make sure your community is running like an engine and you are showing up for the talent and the expertise. Right? And the parts that display your zone of genius. And if that is, you want to talk and engage to everybody in the community and you want to keep ownership of that because that's where you shine, then you don't need a community manager to do that. So it's knowing you, where you shine, where you should be spending your time, make the list of everything else, and then you can kind of start to form how that looks like as a team.
So good. So good. I'm smiling and there's so many memories flooding my mind.
It's not a simple answer, but I'm not a cookie cutter girl. Like, it really, every person is individual, every vision is individual, every community is individual. So no two are going to look alike.
Yes. And I feel like you really did help simplify, at least for me, you know, reminding me that putting the list of all the activities that you do, because this is really what helped me turn the teams around for me when I had my agency, because I went from like 25 full-time people, or just chaos, and payroll kept happening twice a month, and to going to a lean, mean, effective team where it was just peace and space, and just very chill, very relaxed, and in that second iteration of my agency. So yeah, it's reminding me that's what I'd start doing, is list everything out and then categorize by type. And I created a rule for myself, which was no unicorns, no unicorns. Because there was me who was like, here's all the lists, and I just want to find somebody special and great that can just take it off my plate, and then I can just, fly away while they handle all the stuff I don't want to. And I learned, again, that is a terrible leadership for me. Anyways, I'm not going to say for anybody else, but it was a terrible way to lead, because it was saying, hey, you can do this great. And I'm like, yeah, I'd love doing this. And they're like, well, you kind of do this, right? Like, well, I mean, you're the boss, so, and I'm excited to be here, so I'll do this. And it's like, well, I kind of really didn't like this one either.
Yeah.
And over, and pretty soon they're getting stressed out of their zone of genius. And I was like, okay, number one, in my experience, not even effective. Number two, let's just say I found the unicorn. Well, that's not a stable business, because I am, if they have a bad day or if they need some time off or whatever, the whole thing is reliant on them in that way. So I had to come to this point of like, okay, no unicorns, type everything out. We'd even have like subtypes of designers, creators, or duplicators. And then realizing, okay, the clarity that I have with the role gave me the stability. I'm like, okay, because, people's lives change, and there's people come into our lives for a reason or a season or a lifetime. There's that phrase. So I'm like, okay, if I'm very clear on the seat and the responsibilities, then, if there's a person to come in, it's smooth rather than stable. So I really like what you shared of like community manager, maybe a community assistant, different titles, like they can be sub roles.
Yeah. And you're going to need more than one person. Like, this isn't, I know it's easy at the beginning to be like, well, I'll just handle this myself.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. But that is not what I'm going to recommend.
Yeah.
And it may be easy. I'm just getting it started. I don't have the budget. There are so many ways to pull in resources that you need in your business that can be economically friendly to get you started. Sometimes it may just be thinking outside the box. Sometimes it is taking a little faith on yourself
Mm.
and making an investment. But I usually make this recommendation, and this is whether it's in your business or in your community. It's very easy to try to get the cheapest person that you can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you like it when you show up as a client somewhere and you've paid high dollar for something and they give you some like chintzy thing, or it's like shitty customer service? No, you don't appreciate it. You want to find the right pieces that are going to give your members the experience that they want to have. And there are skill sets that takes.
Mm.
I'm not saying pay high dollar either, but I'm saying pay for the skill set that you need.
Mm. Mm.
It's going to pay off in the long run.
Mm. Mm-hmm. And do you see a range from your experience of a ballpark of like what just say like a community manager ballpark is, or a community assistant, kind of like those ballpark
Yeah,
range?
and it really, again, it kind of depends on that breakdown that you have with the list and what you want in a manager and what you want in an assistant. Usually you can get some skilled VAs that have been taught and are really good at Facebook group growth and some things like that. You can even get them from the $8 to $15 an hour range, as long as they're well trained. You may be able to get in a community assistant if there's a little bit more of an ownership in your community type role.
Mm-hmm.
Probably going to say 15 to 25. But if you want more of that manager type role, you're a little more in the realm of like an OBM type skill set, because they're managing everything and they're keeping all the pieces running, right? And they're handling all the issues. Like, they are managing your community. It's basically like if you owned a restaurant and you had a manager so that you didn't have to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're going to want somebody that's going to run it and run it well and keep it profitable, so you don't have to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So that level is a little bit more management skill set, project management, that sort of thing. Could range anywhere from 30 to 60, $70 an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely very clear. And for that true community manager, like you mentioned, OBM,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that's outside business manager. What's the O stand for? That's
Oh, sorry, it's online business manager.
online
Everybody
business manager. Okay.
starts saying online business manager,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a skill. It's basically your right hand person, right? So you want your right hand person managing your community.
Mm-hmm.
OBMs just are your right hand person managing your business.
Right.
But you want that same right hand person managing your community. Like you want someone that's going to take initiative, be able to troubleshoot, not ask you questions 24/7 on how to handle different things. They're going to know you, they're going to know your vision, they're going to know what you want to build and be able to take it and run with it and manage that project. It is a project within your business that's going to be a growing project. Lots of moving pieces, lots of things. The more members you have, the more questions, the more issues, the more things that are going to arrive. Do you want to be bothered with that 24/7? Do you want to handle all the questions?
Mm.
It's not where you need to spend your time. So you need a very strong person that can embody what you want to build and manage it.
Mm. Yeah, and the distinction between, like, say, the manager or the, assistant piece,
Mhm.
if you could share how you look at it. Like, for example, one level is a person who's, asking for guidance, following the plan, sharing different thoughts, of course, on it. Yet maybe like that other higher level is like they're creating the plan and really saying, hey, you as the mastermind leader, this is what I'm thinking. This because of this, like, let's get the final okay. Is that how
Yeah.
you'd say, like, they're really leading that piece?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. They would, ideally as you grow, they would be the one that you meet with regularly and getting updates and things like that. And here's the plan going into the next quarter or month or whatever the cadence is. Um, we want this to have happen. They can report back to you. This is what's happening. This is what we've noticed. This is what we took care of. So I mean, you guys can formulate plans together. They can take the plan and then they can run with it. They can have assistants that kind of own pieces. You may have an assistant that owns Facebook group growth.
Mhm.
That's what they're good at. That's what they're going to do. They're going to own that portion. One that's going to own customer service admin type stuff. Well,
Mhm.
that's what they're going to do. They're going to own that part, but all of them together are managed by your community manager who's going to manage all of the parts and make sure they're all running smoothly and all working well together.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Okay, yeah, so good, so specific, I feel like. And so a person is clear, they've got their list of everything. They've started categorizing in different types, and those roles are starting to emerge. And then what, two things, and whatever you feel like would be most natural to go into is A,
Mhm.
find them, or B, like the task manager. Like, does it need to be this really fancy, automated ClickUp or Asana or whatever? Or could it be even as simple as a spreadsheet? What have you found in, starting out?
I find the bigger your team gets, the more important it is to have more of a task manager, project management, um, communications center for your team to function in. Is actually better than spreadsheet. Now that doesn't mean parts of different things aren't going to be on spreadsheets and you can link them in there and keep it. But I do find, especially with remote teams, you need some sort of hub. I'm
Mm.
just going to call it more a hub,
Yeah.
because you can make them either a combination of task managers like a ClickUp or a Monday or an Asana or a Trello. Some have chat features and communication features, some don't. Some like to add like a Slack, which is a much more robust communication platform.
Mhm.
Um, the less platforms that you have to communicate on, the easier. Like the biggest thing I see is people are sending text back and forth, and then another thing in email, and then another thing in Slack, and then, oh, I sent you a Facebook message on this because it just seemed easy. And then you've got everything all over the place.
Right.
The key is to have it all in 1/2 centralized locations. So you don't have to hunt and search. And, with my team, yeah, there's an occasional text that goes back and forth with my manager if it's something super urgent, or we keep out of team's eyes. There might be an occasional email sent back and forth because I've got to forward something to her. It doesn't mean necessarily, yes, I know you can't do 100%, but the more you can put in one hub. I might forward something to my manager and then send her a message in our chat feature. So we use ClickUp. There's a chat feature in ClickUp. Now you can do voice memos in ClickUp, which is phenomenal, by the way. So we have our communication and our task management and everything all in one system. So I would highly recommend you could start with a spreadsheet, and especially if you only have one person helping you at that point, you could manage that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say I would very quickly try to up level into some sort of task manager. And honestly, if you're bringing on that team member and you have 3 or 4 other team members, you should probably already have one in place anyway.
Yeah. Nice. So practical, so useful. And for your hubs, interesting. So with ClickUp, their new chat feature and audio feature, so then that pretty much like replaces a Slack then, and you just have your tasks and everything. ClickUp.
It does. I will say their newer features, it's a little glitchy, but I have, so when it gets glitchy, okay, I'll send a voice memo into text via text to somebody if I really, really need to, or I'll take time to type it all out. But 95% of the time, all of our communication is in there via the chat function. At Monday has chat as well. It's just something I was exploring with a client the other day. Monday has chat features as well, and additional apps you can integrate and that sort of thing. So it doesn't have to be, you have to have something like Slack outside of it. Slack is appropriate in a lot of situations, but there are people that use it that may not necessarily have to have something that robust.
Awesome. Okay, so I have another question here, and then we'll start bringing it home for today. But before we get into that, so if a person's listening right now and they're just like, I want Mara's help, just tell me where to go. So there's a discovery call link below this video that I'll put. So it's calendly.com/WhitnerPros/discovery. And then you also have free resources that are very precise and focused, a la the style of today's interview. So very practical, very useful. And you have that at whitnerpros.com/free-resources.
Yeah, I invite anyone to go check out. There's a bunch of free resources. There's other teaching videos and things you might glean some insight from. So there's a bunch of great content on there that may be helpful to you. So I invite you guys to download or watch whatever is helpful. You can explore the rest of the site as to what I do. But if any of you are hearing any of this and going, yeah, I'd really like to make sure either I set my community up right the first time, or hey, I'm in the middle of it and I feel like things could be improved, but I don't know the right pieces and I would really like to just not figure it all out myself. Is really, why spend a ton of mental energy and months trying to figure it out yourself when we can very quickly zero in, come up with a plan for you, and let you get on your way. Schedule a discovery call with me. It's free. It's on the house. Just a chance for us to chat. Let me know what you've got going on, and then we can see where we can go from there. It can be for your community. It could be for your business as a whole. We can look at the entire picture or just part of the picture. Totally up to you. But if you feel like you could use a little extra guidance and really how to structure it and structure it well for you, come on in and chat.
I love that. Yeah. And how you share that, whether a person is looking to start off on the right foot with the right structure, so I have to change later. That's great value right there. And then also, hey, maybe already in the mode and the momentum, which is great too. And so it could be a smoother optimization with that discovery call.
Yeah, so we can do any of that. I am working on a special template for you guys to kind of outline important pieces to put together. I'm really kind of tweaking it and customizing it. So if anyone has any particular things you want to see or would love outlined, let Sebastian know. But I'm really here to be a support for you guys on structurally how to make sure you have a well-running community and business.
Absolutely. That is tailor-made for your human design type. All right, well, great. So I just wanted to make sure that the fast action takers are like, where's my link? Where's my link? It's like, okay, there we go. And then one last question before you get into like the summary and start wrapping up today. So covered creating the role and the sub roles. Where do you typically find your people to start interviewing them?
Good question. So those of you, you know your human design and you have a 4 in your profile, it's going to sound weird, but your natural inclination is go, who do I know? And that is your best place to start. So who do I know, and or put the feelers out with your current network. The way we function, that's the way we find our people and our best people. My entire team has been built organically. I've never recruited. I've never advertised. I wasn't even looking. And I ran across them. So if you have a 4 line in your profile, give you that little hint, make life easier on yourself. Start with your own network and who your network knows. 9 times out of 10, you can find that person or a good direction to go in that network. All right. If you don't have a 4 line, maybe don't want to lean as much on your network. You can reach out to your network, regardless of whether you have a 4 line. Like, I do find that's a good place to start. People that know you, people that know what you need, are probably going to know someone else. The other thing you can do, if you have trusted communities that you're a part of, maybe even this one, reach out to others in these trusted communities if they know of people, because there could be someone that has a community manager that's part-time that could take on another one. Right? Fiverr, Upwork, places like that are probably my last place to look. Does not mean there's not great people on there. It can just be, unless you're very, very clear, you have a really good ability to interview and pull out things, it can be a little harder on some of those platforms. You can advertise in your community. If you have a community already built, I have seen them and placed them where it is a super active person. They're really, they really embody your community and your values and what you stand for. They might have skills that translate and they might want to help you out. So I have seen that happen a lot. So those are really good places to start.
Fantastic. Yeah, it continues the theme of referrals, referrals, referrals. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Wow. Well, this has just been packed with value. I feel like, but it's like, I know. I know. So what I'd like to do here is a summary. I'm gonna try and keep it as brief as I can because there's so many awesome bullet points that we covered. But give a summary and then we can close out. It'd be great to close out with a final message that you have to close out today. So yeah, we started off with hearing how you got into the operations and how, whether it was burnout or working in roles that weren't quite a fit, you found the friction of what not being in the zone felt like. And through developing your own process and your operations, started seeing the success, and then through the human design on it, and boom, 4x to revenue in a matter of months. And yeah, I was just making sure I got that right. 4x business in a matter of months. And yeah, so how first starting out, if we're going to hire somebody else, let's know who we are. Number one, let's get clear on our human design and what are the nuances that we require in our business model. because otherwise it'll be broken from the jump. So number one, who are we? Number two, the vision that we have. I'd throw in there like the mastermind model that you can see. And then from there, let's take a look at that who, that right person, list out all the steps, categorize the steps into type, find the specific roles, and then reach out to the network or the trusted communities as well to find that person. And you also shared the different, ranges, whether it's like, say, a Facebook group assistant, $8 to $15 range, community support, billing, admin, 15 to 25, and then that full-on community manager who's leading, creating, and managing, $30 to $7 range, and how you recommend to keep it all in one place for your hub, maybe two, but communications and tasks, one or two places. And so bringing that all full circle today. So hiring a community manager, whether it's starting off in the right place and structure so that special person can come in and truly thrive, or if the ship is already taken off and then it's retweaking, refining. So with that being said, just one last thing, which is people can have the discovery call with you with the link. Like you said, it's on the house. So like, if you have any questions from this, there's nothing to lose joining in on that call. And then you've got some great resources as well. So with that being said, is there any final, message or insight you'd like to close us off with today?
I think we've covered it pretty thoroughly today, but it's really just be open to not doing everything yourself. And really, if this is your passion project and this is your desire and your vision, put as much value and effort into setting up the back end as much as you do with the content creation, as much as you would with marketing it and selling it, because we're all super passionate about that part. Don't throw together the back end.
Yes, give the same love, attention, care to the delivery, to the back end, to what gets the results for the clients. So
Exactly.
well, thank you for sharing that powerful insight as well as the interview. And so this closes us off for hiring a community manager with Whitener. And we'll see everybody next time.